اسمي أحمد وعمري 11 سنة وحابب أفتح محل بسوريا.
اسمي نوفل علي وعمري 13 سنة وبتمنى أرجع لوطننا وبحلم إني أكون محامية.
اسمي غفران وعمري 11 وبس أكبر راح أصير دكتورة.
Welcome back. Those were Syrian children from the Bekaa Valley refugee camp. In Syria, 4 million people are now in urgent need of humanitarian assistance. According to UNICEF, almost 2 million are children under 18, and 536,000 of them are children under the age of 5. Members of this lost generation have been exposed to grave human rights violations, including killing, maiming, sexual violence, and torture. 500,000 child refugees are now in Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, Iraq, and Egypt. Thousands more are streaming across Syria's borders every single week. Just moments ago, Senators Rubio and Kaine announced a new bipartisan resolution calling on President Obama to, quote, develop and submit to Congress a more robust U.S. strategy for addressing the Syrian humanitarian crisis. As we've tried to bring light to this issue all week, we've spoken to voices at the UN, at Save the Children, and on the Hill, and today in the executive branch of government. I'm joined now by Zinat Rahman, who is the director of the Office of Global Youth Issues at the State Department, and has a special place in my heart because that is my old job. Good to see you, Zinat. How are you?
Hi, Ronan. I'm really well. How are you?
Tell me what is happening in Syria right now, particularly with respect to your wheelhouse of issues, which is youth issues. This is something of a lost generation, right? Their parents had some level of stability. They had much less factionalism in their country. Now you have a generation that is weathering the worst kind of firestorm imaginable. What do you think the implications are for the future?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for making this your call to action this week. I think looking at the particular impact that this crisis is having on children and youth is incredibly important. You know, this is the largest humanitarian crisis in our entire generation. You just laid out some numbers. Let me lay out some more, which are that 10,000 young children have lost their lives. We have about 1 million children inside Syria in hard-to-access areas, and over 3 million are out of school and have been out of school for about 3 years. And so, you know, if we look at that generation of people, those are going to be the future leaders of a prosperous and stable Syria. And this calls upon the conscience of all of us, as the Secretary recently said, which means we all have to do more. So the U.S. government is doing what it can to focus on the needs of this important generation so that they don't lose their entire childhoods and adolescence and young adulthoods to conflict.
You just got back from meeting with Syrian refugees in Jordan. Tell us about what the regional impact of this is.
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at a country like Lebanon and Jordan and Turkey, but in Lebanon, for example, they've absorbed the same as if everybody from the United Kingdom came and moved to the United States and came with no jobs, no houses, and nothing but literally the shoes on their feet. So I was able to meet with young Syrian refugees, some of who had just come over hours before and some of who had been there 2 to 3 years. And the young people I spoke to, you know, in one case I spoke to a young man who was looking forward to graduation. He was a junior in college at the University of Damascus, and he abruptly had to leave school and now kind of sits in this perilous limbo waiting to see, you know, what the future holds for him. And I will say that every single person I spoke to, whether they were, you know, 2 years old or 20 years old, they all spoke about their fervent desire and hope to be able to go back to Syria, to resume some sort of normalcy in their life. And this is where I think we all need to do everything that we can to partner with them to ensure that, you know, they can help deal with the shock and trauma of everything that has happened to them in the last few years.
All right, Zinat Rahman, thank you so much, and thank you for the work you do. Your office, the Office of Global Youth Issues at the State Department, is a pretty significant change in how the State Department does business, really focusing on this generation in the policy process. So we'd love to come back to you as further issues on this front arise.
Sounds good. Good to see you, Ronan.
All right, take care.